Good evening and welcome to another edition of our Inside Procents educational webinar series. My name is Devin Anderson and I am the president here at ProCents, and I'm joined by our co-host, Mr. Garrison Lewis, our new partner and friend here at ProCents from the Retrolux team. And of course, the rest of our leadership team, Mr. J.R. Edens, and our very own CEO, Mr. Matt Russell. Garrison, you want to have a little say? It looks like maybe even Leif has popped in just in time to take on his role. You want to speak, Leif, or you want to let Garrison roll?
No, I'm more than happy to do a quick intro on Retrolux.
Right on, go for it.
Yeah, so Retrolux is really excited to help with sponsoring and getting the word out with ProCents on these webinars. We love what they're doing in the market to help bring better pricing, better products, and better partnerships to the lighting and associated industries. Here at Retrolux, we're just really excited to be part of that network and bring our entire community to the ProCents environment as well. Real quick on us, Horticulture is a software program to help ESCOs and contractors with auditing, designing, and selling lighting retrofit and other energy efficiency projects. Primarily a cloud-based web app with mobile apps for field work. So that's what we do. We also have a marketplace technology that allows people to find, specify, and order materials for their projects. So that's it.
Right on. Well, welcome to the webinar, sir. It's always good to see you and hear your voice. Matt, would you like to say a few words before we get started?
Well, I'm excited for this partnership with Retrolux. I'm even more excited to have FSG and the value that they bring to the community as they celebrate a milestone in their history. But I'll let them speak more on that. Don't want to take the thunder, but we're here to build a community where people want to work together, and I'm excited to be a part of it and helping educate people along the way. But let's go.
Right on, right on. All right, well, today we are featuring one of our ProCents distributors within the ProCents environment, ready to open the doors to the totality of what they represent and how they can help you and your organization capture the future with a partnership tied to the FSG brand. Please help me welcome, once again, Miss Jennifer Mercer of FSG. Good evening, Jennifer. We are ready when you are.
Good evening. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for being here and for putting this together and also being a part of the ProCents community. We appreciate you very much.
No, we're excited to participate and happy to be one of your participating distributors. And as Matt mentioned, we are celebrating a milestone this year of 40 years in business. That's pretty exciting, and we've been putting out newsletters and information on Fridays, 40 years of Fridays. So that information can be found on our website and blogs. But I'll get started and tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. FSG has been in business again for 40 years, and we are a national distributor of lighting products, EV chargers, HVAC disinfection, and some other services that I'll dive into. We are also the nation's largest non-union electrical contractor. So we have several locations throughout the country, as well as 2,000 affiliate partners that we're able to partner with in areas that we don't have our own trucks and techs. So next slide. Here is the your ProCents FSG team. You have myself. I am the National Co-op Sales and Marketing Manager. Bernie Erickson, who leads the team. He is the Corporate Marketing Manager and also our Executive Vice President. We have Alyssa Mika, who is the contact that you have on the ProCents website. She can provide any quotes or any information. If she's not able to help out with the design and spec, she will bring me into the fold. And then we have Fred Kondish, who manages all of our distribution on the manufacturer side of the fence. Next slide. There you go. Location. So as I mentioned, we are right next door and across the country. So you can see that, The large dots on the screen are, our key footprint areas, and then all the other dots, we either have satellite offices or affiliate partners in those markets. So we cover a large portion of the country. And this is our areas of expertise, our suite of portfolio services that we're always looking, to add to. At our core, lighting, MRO and national rollout. So lighting, we've been a distributor for 40 plus years. That's the core of our business. That's where we started. We're very good at that. We have, all tiers of lighting. If you're looking for top tiers, if you're looking for, low cost, we can provide a solution. We have a signs division. We have programs that help with lighting as a service, rebates, utility service programs, electric, on the electrical services side, repair, design, build, construction, building controls, technology, and then subsets of those programs. We have your IoT services, needlepoint bipolar, EV charging, horticulture lighting, and I'll dive a little bit into those as we go along. So on the, what does our contract cover with ProCents on the lighting side? Lighting material, all of the material from your screw-in lamps to, your street light fixtures and everything in between. Also covers lighting controls, again, from a variety of manufacturers. In some cases in the FSG markets, we're able to cover electrical labor. So if someone's looking for a turnkey project, we're likely to be able to help with that. We can do prevailing wage and standard rates. We have, bucket trucks, auditing services that we can quote into the mix. Other ancillary services are EV chargers. That's really taking off. That industry is just, starting to really explode, and we're proud to be a part of it. Disinfection solutions, that really came upon us with COVID, but we're still, indoor air quality is really becoming something that is a metric that, architects and engineers are looking for LEED certifications, and indoor air quality is becoming a part of that. So we're still in the mix with that. As I mentioned, most major brands, we have Philips, Acuity, Rab, any brand that you can really think of. Freight is included most of the time. We can standard shipping about 48 hours. The beauty of being able to be one of the largest distributors is we have relationships with so many manufacturers that if there's not stock with one manufacturer, we can quickly cross over to a different spec that meets those qualifications, and up to 10-year warranties in many cases. What is our project process? So if you're looking for a turnkey solution, there's a facility audit that would take place. Someone would go out and count your lighting, what the wattage is, count how many fixtures you have of the lights in the building. There is a charge for the audit, and that's dependent upon the square footage of the building, but we can get into that through deeper conversations. Proposal and utility applications. One of the key differentiators with FSG is we are familiar with many rebate programs throughout the country. So many electric utilities offer, a rebate on the lighting to be able to reduce your wattage from, fluorescent or metal halide to LED. So we can match you with those rebate programs in different areas of the country. Then you order the material and you're off with installation. So, and then circling back to the rebate programs and why LED, a lot of areas of the country still haven't upgraded to LED, and you can really save. Energy savings is key. 80% over incandescents. You're looking at saving from metal halides or compact fluorescents. You can save, about 50 to 60%. They're dimmable. They last longer. You can eliminate your maintenance. No one's out there with bucket trucks changing lamps and ballast every, 1 to 2 years any longer. You put them up and they're going to go for 10 plus years. another snapshot from the U.S. Department of Energy that just shows the benefits of fluorescent versus LED tubes and the, you know, the wattage savings from 32 watts to 9 to 12 watts. You know, and again, rebate programs and what you're able to receive from your utility. In many cases, you can receive up to $4 a tube and cover the cost, you know, half of the cost and sometimes most of the cost of the LED tube. Another hot topic, especially in the education segment, is color tunable lighting in classrooms. So being able to change the mood is relevant to, you know, for example, if you have rambunctious elementary school students that you need to calm down, you can make that a warmer, softer glow to help calm them down. And then alternatively, you may have teenagers who were up all night, didn't get proper rest, they're a little tired and groggy in the morning, they're not able to focus. So you can change that to a new, brighter, you know, mimic the daylight and really get them engaged. So that's something that, you know, we're able to offer in from LED tubes to fixtures. This shows you kind of the circadian rhythms of a teenager in that case where they would, you know, they're waking up and they're dropping off, and how the lighting in that classroom can really help with mood setting, focus, and help them pay attention. Some of the products under that are just, you know, from tubes, as I mentioned, to flat panels, to troughers, easy fixture mounted controls, and you can change them really quickly, you know, by the touch of a button with your remote control. Then we'll talk a little bit about needlepoint bipolar ionization, UV. This goes back to, again, you know, during COVID, we really took off in this field, and we're helping businesses and schools and different segments reopen and stay open. And through that, we've learned that, you know, healthy buildings and indoor air quality are very important. And one of the key things that COVID has taught us is that many buildings that, you know, across the country are old and the indoor air quality is poor. So being able to open those buildings with clean, fresh air is key. So we'll talk a little bit about the differences and how that works. One of the solutions would be, you know, a portable solution that you can wheel into an office space, a classroom, really a hospital suite, what have you. And it can clean the air with HEPA filtration, needlepoint bipolar ionization, and then it can do a zero reset with the UV once the classroom or the space is empty. So you can continuously clean the air in various aspects of that and reset the viral load. And that's a measurable, measurable unit through indoor air quality monitoring. Next slide. This shows you a little bit about indoor air quality monitoring and some of the solutions that we have where you can put sensors in the room to be able to show you that, you know, the CO2 levels have increased or there's toxic VOCs in the space, and it lets you know proactively that that room needs to be sanitized. And how does needlepoint bipolar ionization work? Ions, there's natural concentration of ions in the air. And prior to this call, we were talking a little bit about some of Devon and some of the people live on the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest where there's mountains. And in that area, you know, it's a lot more clean, fresh air than if you live in an urban environment in maybe LA. And as you can see, you know, ions are generated naturally in the air. And as you're getting into more of an urban and then an indoor space, those ions are less prevalent and cannot regenerate or clean the air. So what the needlepoint bipolar ionization does, either in a portable unit like the one in the previous slide, or a solution that can be installed into your HVAC system, is helps you clean the air, mold, bacteria, viruses, toxic VOCs, it really just kind of surrounds that molecule and just kind of chokes it out so that it cannot replicate and is able to be eliminated. Next slide. This shows you, and this shows you a little bit about the IoT solutions. And after this slide, we'll kind of toggle over to one of our websites that we have that gives you a little bit more in-depth and detail about this product. But on this, the indoor air quality monitoring monitors, as I mentioned, CO2 levels, toxic VOCs, temperature, humidity, motion, light. You can really set this up to do a lot of things, and it helps you with your indoor air quality monitoring. Next slide. Easy to install, monitor, protect, and comply. So what does that mean? This is, and we'll toggle over here to, if you can toggle over, Devin, to the IoT. So this is a solution that we have that provides real-time monitoring. Indoor air quality is one of the key aspects of it, but it's essentially a LoRaWAN, its own end-to-end system. You don't have to write off of your existing Wi-Fi. If you could scroll up a little bit. As you can see, there's multiple solutions that can be tied into this. So it operates again on its own network. Easy to install, easy to monitor. You can opt to connect it to your building automation system, or it can run separately on its own dashboard. But there's other cool products that are able to be added besides the indoor air quality monitoring. You're able to, for example, put on there to replace the soap in the soap dispenser, or empty the trash cans, or there's a people counting solution. There's door barricades. There's, if you scroll back up there to show the solutions, there's panic buttons, door barricades for, schools to help with active shooter drills. There's refrigeration monitoring solutions for, hotels, large restaurants, really anyone that has a walk-in freezer or cooler that they have to monitor, and OSHA requires them being at a certain level. So this solution, once you install it, it's quick to deploy and add any of the other 400 different products that are on here. So quick, easy solution to install. Back to our slides. Next slide. That just gives you a quick shot of the dashboard that is there. And as you can see, I know it's kind of tough to see on there, but it would show you your toxic VOCs, your CO2 levels, your light levels. And again, you can integrate that into your building automation system as another screen, or you can keep it monitoring separately as a completely standalone dashboard. Now we'll talk a little bit about EV chargers and how that's taking off in the country. And there's a lot of funding available for that. So we're doing research, and we're finding that in many cases, businesses can install EV chargers either at a lower cost, or somehow receive a tax break, or some type of funding for that. So we can provide links and information to areas that they can locate the funding. Next slide. And again, with the electric utilities, some are even taking it a step further and providing, a complete rebate for the project. For example, PSE&G in New Jersey, that's one of the electric utilities that's providing, I'd say, the largest individual rebate that I've seen yet in the country. They're providing $7,500 per charger to the customer for installing EV chargers. And each of these other electric utilities listed on this slide also provides some type of funding. Next slide. So if you're ready for EV charging, there's a lot that's involved with EV charging. You know, you have to make sure that that there's enough electrical capacity, and sometimes that electrical capacity has to be upgraded from the power company. Sometimes it has to be upgraded at your site, you know, from the meter down. There has to be, you know, enough electrical conduit that needs to be run from the panel box to the point that you want the charger installed. So, you know, we kind of help you navigate that process and talk you through, you know, what that looks like from a customer's investment perspective. Again, another slide that kind of tells you about, you know, the customer incentive programs. There's a lot of moving parts with the, you know, the EV chargers, the funding that's out there, software. Are you going to use it just for your employees? Are you going to have it an open platform so that people can come in to use it, you know, coming off of the highway? How are you going to charge them for that? And again, FSG's happy to help you navigate those processes. Then there's 3 types of chargers. So you have level 1, and that's traditionally what you have at your home. You know, you have an electric vehicle, you plug your vehicle in at night in your garage, it charges for 10 to 12 hours overnight, and you're fully charged and ready to go. The chargers out that you see, you know, at shopping centers and restaurants and businesses, those are primarily level 2 chargers, which is what, you know, are being incentivized and what's primarily being installed across the country. Those are what you call top-off chargers. Someone's out driving, you know, for a few hours, they're going to go shopping, they're going to stop at a restaurant, or they're going to go to work for the day. You know, they can charge and top off. It usually takes about 2 to 6 hours. It's charging at a higher rate than the level 1, which is only 120 volts. They're typically 208, 240. And the amps are between, you know, 12 and 80 amps, where the amps at home are about 12 to 16 amps. And then you have level 3 fast charging, which, you know, it's a lot more expensive. It takes a ton of electrical capacity. You're primarily looking at 480 volts. And these we're going to start seeing, you know, more along the lines of, you know, on a highway or a corridor, for people who are traveling across the country, and you'll have them for fleets, for large trucks, as electrical vehicles become, you know, more popular over the next 10 years. Next slide. So as I mentioned, you know, with the electrical capacity and the output, for example, you know, if you have a 40 amp charger, you need at least a 50 amp breaker. In the same respect, if you have a 48 amp charger, you need a 60 amp breaker. So again, if you're going to double that, you're going to put 2 on a pedestal, 2 48 chargers, you're going to need a 125 amp breaker to be able to handle that electric capacity. Next slide. So this is a quick snapshot of all of the, you know, well, I wouldn't say all of, but most of the manufacturers that we represent. And as you can see, there's quite a disparity on the price. You have some of these over here that are, you know, 32 amps at $7,500. And then you go down here to Wallbox at 48 amps at $1,148. And you ask, well, you know, what's the difference? This one looks much larger. It looks like it's, you know, has more capacity, but it's really not. You know, they are all able to do essentially the same thing. But if you look at and think about, you know, cell phones, for example, this is kind of a phase 1 manufacturer. And then this is one of the newer manufacturers. So if you think of, you know, the old bricks of cell phones that we had, and now we're making them much smaller and, you know, able to process better processing power and using smaller components. That is essentially what you're looking at. And some of these, you know, this one, Loop Evo Charge, if you look closely enough, it's really essentially made by the same, you know, the same components there, just, you know, piece parted together a little bit differently. One of the costs that can be included or that add additional cost is cable management, the ability to, quickly retract the cable versus having to roll it back up yourself, so that, customers aren't just running over the cable and you're having to replace the cable. So we're able to quote any of these plus some additional manufacturers. And if you scroll over to our EV charging page, Devin, I can show you a little bit about. Scroll down. So as you see here, this is, we have a variety of manufacturers, from Tesla to EvoCharge, Wallbox. Orange is a level 1 manufacturer, and AmpUp is the software that runs with many of these different hardware companies. So on here, you'll also be able to see some of our different case studies and information for EV charging. So that's fsg.com/EV charging. So we can toggle back over to the presentation. And next slide. As I mentioned, software, many of the manufacturers, they all come with free software. So if a customer is looking just to say, look, I want to be able to give my employees the ability to charge their vehicles while they're at work, easy enough, free software. You can, manage basic things like who charged it, how long, but that's about the capabilities. Next slide. So more advanced software gives you the ability to, as you can see on here, it's a little bit hard to see, but there's different features of reporting, basic, light, and pro, that you can add in at the, the highest level of software. That's an open platform that gives the ability for you to charge anyone that would come up and they have an app on their phone. Anyone that has an EV vehicle has an app on their phone that's able to locate, essentially where's a charger in my area. I need an open charger, and they can come locate that, reserve it, and pay on the app. You as the owner would be able to set the price that they're paying for, their kilowatt rate. Next slide. And how about free chargers? So some of the EV charging companies out there are, saying, oh, look, we'll put chargers in for free. So what does that mean? And Blink, for example, is a company that's doing that. So, as we talked about, there's, host owned, which means you 100% pay your site preparation, you pay your equipment costs, you pay your electricity and maintenance. Then you pay a network connectivity fee as a software fee, as a subscribe, to be able to run the software either for yourself or for, open platform. Then you receive 100% of that charging revenue. Then there's a hybrid solution where, you would work with someone like, for example, Blink, where you pay the site preparation, which that most of the time is the biggest cost of installing EV chargers, because you have to make sure that you have the electrical capacity, and there may be trenching involved to put in the conduit to get the pedestals to where you need them to be in the parking lot. And then in this situation, the Blink or one of the other manufacturers would say, we'll cover the equipment costs for you. We're going to cover your charger installation, your electricity, your maintenance. Don't worry about it. You pay us, $12 to $18 a month. And then we'll also give you 40% of the revenue share. And then, over time, you start to see that revenue share number goes up, and you're losing, a fair amount of money as more people start to use those chargers. And then Blink as a service, and other manufacturers have this, and I just use Blink, and we actually represent Blink as well. So it's one of the manufacturers that we represent. Blink as a service, you pay for the site again, Blink pays for everything except the electricity for that charger. You pay for that. they pay for the maintenance, they're paying the network connectivity fee, and then you're paying them a subscription fee between $79 and $189 a month, and then you're receiving 100% of the revenue. But you're also, if you add that $79 to $189 a month, that's a substantial amount of money. And then Blink owned some of the situations where they put those in, or for example, Marriott's, they put that in, they go and say, look, we'll put these in, you don't worry about it. We're going to give you 5% of the charging revenue. You pay us $12 to $18 a month, and we'll cover everything. And it's a very small revenue stream for the hotel owner and a very large revenue stream for Blink. Next slide. So just some more information off of the U.S. Department of Energy. As you can see, we pull some of the data off of there for lighting and for chargers, kind of gives you an explanation of what you should be paying for installation cost. And, again, it's a fluctuating number, but it gives you an average of what we're seeing across the country. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. One thing I didn't mention in the slide deck, and if Devin, you can toggle over, horticulture lighting, that is a segment of business that last year we started diving into, and with indoor agriculture and urban farming to cannabis cultivation, we're really starting to carve out a name for ourselves in that space. And there's many areas of the country that are food deserts, and being able to take shipping containers or warehouse space that is unoccupied and change those into places that you're able to grow fresh fruits and vegetables for towns and cities that need them are huge. So we're pretty excited about this segment of our business. And if you scroll up a little bit, you can, get some information about, how it fits in your space, how to save energy. For example, I know that California, for example, in the, cannabis industry, that they've been doing this for years, but most of the growers have old antiquated lighting. And California has mandated that, I believe in 2024 or 2025, that growers have to switch over to LED for energy savings. So that is something that we're able to help with. So I think if you scroll down, it should tell you some of the products here. Maybe not.
No, as far as those.
Okay, well, we do have, all of the major manufacturers, Philips, Signify, and various manufacturers in the horticulture space. So, and we have a whole horticulture division that, I'm more of the SME and in the EV and disinfection space. And we have someone that's very, very knowledgeable in the horticulture space. So we're able to help with that as well. So as you can see, we have, a full suite of services from, lighting, electrical, and it spans out to a variety of different facility solutions, if you will. So we're excited to be part of ProCents and look forward to working with your members.
Yeah, no, I love it. This is great, Jennifer. Wide variety of the kind of the new technology, all touched at at the same time here.
Right.
It feels almost like all of these new technologies are overlapping, in some cases, becoming almost a multi proposition for a lot of corporations. So this is a very great opportunity for somebody. If they get in with an opportunity, they can be looking at IoT, needle-pointed bipolar, and EV charging at the same facility. So
Absolutely.
very big opportunity. All right, so that's the end of the program. Right now, if there are any questions, I'd love to have you guys just go ahead and ask Jennifer a question if you guys have any.
The one question that I have for you, Jennifer, and I want it just to be out there for a record is in lighting, we've always looked at an ROI when installing lighting. When it comes to EV, that does not predicate to the sale of EV charging. So what are some of, outside of the rebates, like as you mentioned, what are some of the things that you find are the turning points that get people more interested in pulling the trigger, since it's not an ROI play, or rebates may not be as good as they are in certain areas?
Sure. So the ROI, and we do have a calculator on our website that, you know, kind of gives you an ROI because we're lighting people, and that's the world that we're in. But I think the biggest factor and the biggest reason that people are wanting to install EV chargers is, you know, employee retainment, to help their employees and staff and customers. And then, you know, some people are looking for a revenue stream. So if you're a restaurant owner, it's a way to add revenue. They're coming in to eat. You can, you know, open that platform and, you know, for example, say you're paying, you know, 15 cents per kilowatt hour on your electricity. You charge someone 30 cents per kilowatt hour to charge their vehicle, then that's all profit.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that it's great for people to hear, to think about that in a different light, as more people get into the EV charging. And it's nice that you went over the installation, because obviously that is something that people look at the material cost and forget about the install, where the install can be just as much, if not more, than the actual equipment itself.
Correct. And it traditionally is more, unless you're lucky and that you have a lot of capacity and you're going to mount those right next to the box. You're, you know, looking at running conduit and electrical distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the industry has been is kind of in a box for a long time, where everything was ROI based, and that's the way we drove every single project. And then of course controls came into the game, and ROI, you know, decided to make things a little bit more difficult. You can't really do ROI with controls. So I think we've all had the opportunity to start looking at these new technologies and find different ways to leverage what they do, the services they provide, the revenue streams that come with them, and allow for for them to become a different sales process. And Leif, I know you for years have been in that ROI world and have had to experience the you know, the control side of selling the IoT experience. And now of course you're probably looking at EV and everything else. I'd love to hear from you kind of how you've seen the industry change from an ROI standard to, you know, more of a service-based and revenue-based model.
Yeah, so I think, you know, generally in the lighting industry, you know, people have focused over the years on doing retrofits based on ROI or payback. And I think, you know, that's still a very strong driver for, you know, owner of building, tenant of buildings, final decision to move forward with a solution. What I think we're seeing now is that, you know, many companies are really putting together a more complete overview of the financial benefit of a project for that owner and operator. And so, you know, looking beyond, you know, simple ROI and simple payback, and instead looking at the internal rate of return, the net present value, increasing revenue can be really important to companies that have, you know, guests that are coming into their buildings. So EV chargers, you know, can fit into that category if they want to charge for the power that comes out of them. And then you also can start to, you know, ask the customers what other goals they have. So what are they really trying to accomplish with their lighting system or with their property? And, you know, you may find that, you know, they're willing to pay more for features of that system that, you know, the simpler systems that have maybe a better, you know, pure ROI can't contribute. to the project benefits. So some customers may also look at marketing and say, that this is a tenant amenity. This is marketing to get new people to come into our store to increase our overall revenue, or increase our overall number of rooms rented if it's a hotel. And so I think, what we see with our customers and with the industry is just a much better approach of really digging into the customer's goals and really being clear on what they're trying to accomplish. And, some companies and customers, they may really only care about the least expensive retrofit or the highest ROI retrofit. But I think when you peel the onion back one layer, you find that, they're really looking for the best value. And the key is digging into them to understand what they define as value to them. And it may be a combination of ROI, marketing, and revenue increase across, their primary business line. And by having EV chargers, they think that's going to, help improve, their occupancy or something if it's a hotel, for instance, or increase their in-store sales if it's a retail store. So I think that's, really the change and approach that people out there selling in the market need to think about. And generally, if people have the capacity to start looking at additional solutions that they can sell through to their existing customer base and the new customers they're approaching, then, we recommend that they look at doing that and leaning into things that are electrical if they're electricians, leaning into things that are energy savings if they're more focused on energy savings. And, the great thing is they can work with partners like ProCents, work with partners like FSG that have figured out how to sell, how to install, how to design, how to work with the utilities and the local AHJs to get these projects executed, to help them kind of get started out there in these new approaches and these new solutions that are hitting the market.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think the other thing that goes along with this, and Jennifer, you alluded to this early on in the slide deck, there's a lot of money out there for a lot of this stuff. The incentives are ridiculously crazy. We just did a webinar with Randy Lucas of Lucas Tax and Consulting, who discussed a lot of these new incentives that are rolled out. And I think that, if you look at the drive to impose EV charging across the country, along with all of the other really high technology, new technology opportunities, and the ways that we can actually drive those and get those started, can actually get some of these things installed and be cash positive on the other side. So a lot of different opportunities, and working with a professional like you, Jennifer, your team, I think it warrants the connection with our members to have that conversation and see, what's the best way to connect and leverage that type of opportunity. So we really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Happy to help and look forward to working with your members.
Right on. Any other questions?
One thing I'd like to just point out to our members as we close, horticultural lighting is probably one of the fastest growing lighting segments that we see in 2022, and will be so for the next 3 to 5 years. So if you're not sure where to go, which partner to lean on, reach out to FSG and talk to them, because they are nationwide and they can help you understand the rebates, the technology that goes in behind it, because the lights don't have to be on 24 hours a day to produce a certain yield. But all of that is new technology. And even if it's in the emerging markets that have legalizing cannabis and cannabis farms, it's a huge market and an opportunity for you to go back and see your customers and create a new revenue stream with people you already know. And
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That's perfect way to end this thing. So this concludes today's Inside Procents educational webinar, hosted by Miss Jennifer Mercer of FSG, based in New Jersey. Thank you again for your time and for this information, and this very professional presentation. We really appreciate it, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Look forward to working with you.
Right on. If you have any questions for Jennifer, you can reach her through your participation summary through Alyssa, or you can contact her directly at 410-375-4914 or jennifer.mercer@fsgi.com. So definitely reach out to her, and she'll put you in touch with the right people for what you're doing. Thanks to everybody for their time and for watching this today and for supporting our ProCents environment. Winning is a team effort, and we here at ProCents are all about are all proud to be working with each one of you, and we look forward to a really solid 2023 as we move forward. Let us remind you that there is a better way. To all those who are watching this that are not a part of ProCents at this point in time, to buy and sell, and it begins with a community that you can trust. At ProCents, we make connections that are sticky and that last. Then we get out of the way. We never stand in between you and your new connection. We simply open the doors and let our members choose their own path, but they do it together. If you'd like to know more about ProCents, check out our website at www.procents.com or reach out to any one of our leadership team members and get on our calendars. There is no better time than now to get on this train. Thank you all once again. Have a spectacular day.